Hello dear tea friends from around the world, and welcome to a new tea class with me, Stéphane Herler, the founder of the Tea Masters blog, that was 2005 already, and also the manager of the tea-masters.com online tea boutique, where you can find all the nice selections of accessories and teas that I'm using in everyday life and also here during my classes. So today's class is going to be a bit unusual, a bit interesting. It was a question brought up this week on YouTube by PN Pozzo di Borgo, probably an Italian friend, who asked a question about tea rinsing and asked me to do a whole class about rinsing tea. And I'm going to do this and even more. I'm going to attempt to establish a new world record for the fastest tea rinse ever done on camera. So that's why you see I've practiced hard. I'm using a Gaiwan for the fastest pour possible, and it's going to be a top performance, I hope. We are really trying to establish something that has never been done before, the fastest rinse in the world. For this subject, how about rinsing tea? And I would say there are actually three reasons why people rinse tea in general, and you see it in many videos on YouTube and in Taiwan. If you go to Taiwan, you will notice lots of people are rinsing their teas, and I think there are three reasons why people will rinse their teas. Number one is to clean the leaves. It's a habit that people have when they buy vegetables in the market, that are when they go back, well, they clean the vegetables before eating them, because who knows what pesticides, what chemicals have been sprayed on the fields. And it's, of course, you always want to clean your vegetables before eating them, as a matter of health and mostly for health reasons. And there's always some earth, some dirt on it, so it's better to always clean your vegetables and your food before you eat it. Second reason for rinsing, for some people they say, oh, it helps prepare my leaves to release the aromas, otherwise I'm not able to get the aromas right in the first brew if I don't do the rinse. And I will also talk about this argument in a moment. And I would say there is a third reason for the rinse, is that it is a kind of a ritual. It's a time where you start to be quiet. It's a time where it's an interesting ritual of purity. You are purifying your leaves. You are at the same time rinsing your equipment, your cups, your tea vessel. So you feel cleansed, and maybe it's a nice way of slowing down the pace of creating this kind of purification ritual that will also have a positive impact on the mind, because if you go from 1 second to your workout to next second starting to brew tea, it's difficult to transition. So it can be a nice way to cool down and to get in the pace, in the mood for a more quiet time, Zen time for tea. Now, okay, here are some three reasons why rinsing can be why rinsing is done, and I'm going to now to rinse in the fastest way that possible. Trying to attempt my record. I'm going to use my tradition Oriental Beauty from this summer, Oriental Beauty Oolong. So a really very nice tea, very fragrant, fruity. It has no pesticides, otherwise the bugs won't come to bite the leaves. So it's really a tea that is very clean. Oh, okay. Now, very important always for this class. Actually, it's really. I'm going to also develop more about it. Preheating is also very important. It's also it performs a lot of the functions that I was just saying. Also, a way of again dusting the things and cleaning, and also, how you say, yeah, cooling down, slowing down the pace before really starting to enjoy the tea. Preheating is really an important part, and I even remember I did one class specifically on preheating. So let me preheat well. So you see, I poured quite slowly. Let me say again what I said for the preheating. I poured slowly to slow down, to be more quiet, and start to be in this mood for tea. That's why I did not pour so quickly, and maybe, but you could also do it a bit faster, especially if you are going to brew a tea that requires a faster pour. The preheating is also a time when you can rehearse your first pour without the leaves. So that's and where you can get to better know again your tea vessel, especially if you have not used it for a long time, to see how the water swirls in it, what will be the ideal height, especially in a Gaiwan. Okay. Then of course you want to wait long enough for the lid to be warm, to be hot. Now we empty in our cups. I empty kind of like I would pour later on. Okay. Start to be nervous. Calm down, Stefan. The time for the fastest winds in the world is approaching. Okay, are you ready? I'm going to rinse very, very fast. Look. Stop. Done. Okay, perfect. Yes, that was the fastest rinse in the world. You have not seen anything. Okay, you understand the joke now. I'm not rinsing my leaves. That's how I managed to make this rinse so quick. If you don't rinse them, then of course you don't need to waste any time on the rinsing. And now on the class, I'm going to explain the reasons why I'm not rinsing tea. Well, for the first, because there are several reasons why people would rinse tea, then I use these to see now what are the reasons against it. So the reasons why people will rinse tea is that, well, let me still drink my tea. So let's brew it while I'm giving you the explanation. So for the reason of cleaning the leaves, the idea is that we don't need to clean the leaves if the leaves are clean already, and if you don't think that they are dirty. Now, two questions. Why would you think they are dirty, or why would you think they're not clean? Well, if you buy really cheap tea, maybe you think, oh, it's so cheap, the hygiene must not be so good, or they must use a lot of chemicals. So by rinsing it, I really can get rid of this dirt, the lack of hygiene that during the process. So this may be one way of why people rinse the leaves. To this, I answer, well, if you think really the leaves are unclean, or they are so cheap that there's a problem about them, then maybe the best option is not to drink it at all, because rinsing the leaves is only addressing the dirt on the outside, is not addressing the more structural problem with the leaves, like pesticides. The problem with pesticides is not so much on the surface, is much more a problem inside the leaves. Also, did they get to, was it nourished with heavy metals or bad chemicals? So this would be more a problem inside the leaves, and for this you cannot solve it with simply a rinse. So in this case, the best is simply not to drink the tea at all, and that's why you are selecting leaves to find those that taste the best, and you don't drink those that are not good. Okay, since I already had preheated the Gaiwan and placed my leaves in the Gaiwan, I might as well make a brew out of it and drink some. Okay, we have Donald who says already he's never rinsing. Great. Totally, I'm glad we're on the same page here. And I'm going to continue to tell you why it's really a good idea not to rinse if you have selected good tea. And also notice, even with what is the cheapest tea around, it's a tea in tea bags. This is really the cheap and low quality leaf that you usually can get, and nobody rinses a tea bag. Why? Because if you rinse a tea bag, well, then there's nothing left to drink out of it. You can also and this goes to the second reason why rinsing is not a good idea, because the best aromas, the nicest, the lightest aromas are the first ones that come out of the leaves, are the first ones in the first brew. So you really don't want to miss these aromas and throw them away. That's why it's really not a good idea to rinse your leaves. Another reason why you really should not think that your tea is bad and that it has germs or something like this. Well, for the germs, really, it's not a problem, because to stop the oxidation process, the leaves go through a Kilgreen process, and basically this heats the leaves at a temperature over 180 degrees Celsius, and this means all the germs, bacteria, they die at this level. So you don't have to worry about germs thanks to this Kilgreen, and then if they are well packaged and well stored. And if it's a fresh tea, then really it's there's no problem that can really happen on the way. The only problem is then more during the storage. If you leave your leaves for 20 years, maybe they get moisture, and then with moisture they might rot if there is too much moisture or water that hits the leaves. But this is quite easy to recognize even by view or by smell. If the smell is not right, then you simply don't drink the tea. But rinsing will not cure it. Another logical thing is, when you look at people who rinse the leaves, what do? They first do like this, and now they would throw away. Let's imagine this is the rinse. They would throw away this, and next they would brew the first brew and put it here. But what happens actually if you throw away the content of this cup? You still have the content stays a bit inside the cup. We always know that when you finish a cup, even when the cup of tea, when it's empty, you still have something of the tea that remains at the bottom of the cup. This is what makes the teacup fragrant after you have finished your cup. Good. It's a little bit hot, but today it's cold, so I can drink it. It's okay. Now for my example, let's imagine I've rinsed it, but actually I can still smell the tea, so which means there's still some tea inside this cup. And people who rinse, what do? They don't rinse the rinse. You never see them do this afterwards to clean the cup that contained the dirty rinse. They don't do this actually. So actually, if they were logical, they should do this, because this cup now would still be kind of dirty, because it has contained the rinse. But nobody actually rinses the rinse or cleans after the rinse, because they feel it's not such a big problem. It's not so dirty, or I don't know. Anyway, it's not so logical. Maybe they say, "Oh, it's just a little bit left." Yes, actually, this is also a good argument. Nothing is 100% clean in this world. Only angels or God is 100% pure and clean. So tea is an earthly food. It's also, and I think it's already 99.9%, if you have chosen it well, clean. There are always going to be a little bit of unclean thing, but this is life, and it's all a matter of degree. And you will feel much more at ease if you consider that 99% is really clean, instead of thinking hard about this 1% or 0.1 or 0.001% of dirt in the cup. So this is psychological, I would say, but it's good. So I'm going to drink some more. So yes, so the question of being dirty is not so much a problem for the surface, it's really a problem from the inside. And there are some teas that don't taste so good, that were harvested on a wrong day, when it was starting to rain a little bit, or that were maybe aged in an unclean way. And the best thing then is not to drink it at all, and not believe that, oh, the rinsing is going to magically clean it. Another thing for those people who say, oh, I need the rinse to open up the leaves because otherwise, especially with rolled oolong in Taiwan, the oolongs are rolled. So if you don't they say if you don't rinse, then the leaves have problems to expand, and this is where the preheating is so important, because yes, indeed, you will have trouble to brew the leaves right if your vessel is not warm enough. And I also have seen people who use actually the rinse as a way to preheat their vessel. So they don't preheat their vessel. They simply put the leaves, and then they do the rinse, throw it away. This often happens actually with puer, and then they start to doing the second. So the reason for the rinse actually for them is it replaces the preheating, and in the case of a puer, it's also because the leaves are so rich that you can make so many puers with the same leaves that it does not feel such a loss. But still, I argue it's a big loss, because the best, lightest fragrances are in front, are the first ones. So I still think it's not a good reason to do this even with puer. And for the rolled oolong, the problem of expansion is actually going to make things worse, because if you noticed in the beginning, I was very careful in the way I put my leaves in my gaiwan, so that I have an harmonious placement of the leaves, so that when I pour my water, the leaves then open up in all directions and take the space evenly in my gaiwan. However, if you do a quick rinse without preheating, what happens is that, especially with rolled oolong, you will have all your rolled oolong on one side. Then for the actual first brew, your leaves are not well balanced inside your gaiwan, because through the rinse they are all on one side, and this actually, if you use a teapot, can even clog your spout. So it can cause additional problems. Whereas and then you might be tempted to shake your teapot or shake your gaiwan to get the leaves again in the middle, but then this is not so peaceful. It's also an unnecessary move if you don't do this quick rinse, and if you simply preheat your tea vessel right. As for the third reason for this being a way of purification and introduction and ritual to start the process of brewing tea, well, this is again why the preheating moment is so important. The preheating can be this time of calm down, and of feeling that you are cleaning everything again, even though actually you should really always have clean equipment already before the start of your session. Just yes, the preheating is also then a ritual way of saying, oh, and of showing and of doing that this cleaning act, and also a way of calming down. Cheers. Very, very nice. Okay, thank you very much for watching. Please give me a like for this video if you have enjoyed it on YouTube.